Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of your Joyful Order podcast. Today's episode is just a little bit different, and honestly, it's a very special one. This year, my husband Steve and I are celebrating 25 years of marriage. June 2nd, 2001, we said, I do. 25 years. That is absolutely insane. A whole quarter of a century we have been together. When we got married, we were young, optimistic, and pretty convinced that love alone would carry us through absolutely anything. What we didn't know is that marriage would become one of God's greatest tools for growth, refinement, forgiveness, friendship, and faith. Over the last 25 years, we've experienced incredible joy, some difficult seasons, parenting, ministry, career changes, financial stress, big dreams, failures, disappointments, laughter, and a whole lot of learning in between. So today we're pulling back the curtain and we're having a real conversation about what marriage has actually taught us. And this is not coming from a place of perfection. We're not here to give like marriage advice and for you to look at us and say, hey, look at us. This is just coming from a place of experience. So, whether you've been married for 6 months or 25 years, or you're just simply hoping to one day have a healthy relationship, our prayer is that something out of today's conversation just encourages you. So, stay tuned and get ready to have some fun conversations. Hey everyone, I'm Leslie Martinez, and you're listening to your Joyful Order podcast. Each week, I will bring you joyful stories that will motivate and inspire you, and at the same time, bring order to your everyday life. Let's just say the show will be a mixture of preaching and teaching with a kick of motivation from your girl here. Welcome to your Joyful Order podcast. Hey, friends, welcome back to this fun episode. I have a pretty amazing guest. I kind of sleep with him too. He's pretty hot, he's pretty handsome. But I feel like he doesn't need a formal introduction. So, my wonderful husband, Steve, thank you for being here and for just 25 years of marriage, my love. Isn't it pretty crazy?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy and it goes by super fast. I could think back of us after Noah was born and we're like, where is he going to go to school? We got to think about that. And here we are 25 years later. He's 21 and we've been married for 25 years.
I know. It's pretty crazy. And here we're sending our youngest off to graduate in a matter of days.
Yeah.
When this airs, he will have already graduated, which is absolutely insane. You need no introduction. If for those of you that are listening that don't know, I know I've mentioned this numerous times, but maybe there's a new listener that does not know. Steve is like my backbone to this podcast. He does a lot of behind the scenes work that you guys just don't see up front. He edits every single episode, y'all. So kudos to my love for being the backbone of this episode, or of all episodes, I should say, all 128. Do you realize you have edited 128 episodes of this podcast?
That's crazy. How many years is that 128?
Shoot, when did I launch the podcast?
Is it
In
3 or 4 years?
2002? I
I
think
think
we're
so.
I think we're 4 years. This is season
Yeah.
6. Um, and I know it's weird because I kind of did 2 seasons for like the first couple of years. That's how we're on like 6 now. Okay, so let's start. Today we're going to talk about what 25 years of marriage has taught us. So let's just start from the beginning. Looking at back then versus now. When you think back to the day that we got married, what did you believe marriage was going to be like?
What did I believe marriage was going to be? As much as I want to give a good answer, I want to say I had no clue because I was just literally legal to drink.
We were young.
Yeah, I mean, I had just turned 21 the August before we got married, and so I was legally the age to drink at my own wedding the August before. So I think that's kind of crazy. And I mean, nowadays you see people getting married in their 30s, and I don't know what that would have done for us, but we are not 50 yet, and we can still keep up with our two adult-ish kids.
Yeah. I mean, we can enjoy them. So for the listeners, I was 22 and Steve was 21 when we got married. We were high school sweethearts, so we have been together for 7 years already. So it's not like we just met and got married. We were just ready to kind of start our next phase of life together, and we wanted to do it married. So yeah, we did get married really young.
Yeah, Lissy, what about you? What expectations did you have that turned out to be completely wrong?
Um, well, I think for me, my little like MASH sixth grade lineup of what my life was going to look like. Remember that game MASH? It told me I was gonna have like a convertible Mercedes and a big mansion and a maid and like a cook by now. So I think I was completely disappointed by what my MASH lineup turned out to be. And I joke. But I think I'm with you is that I don't here's my thing. I was not brought up in a family that had good marriages around them to have any expectations. That's kind of sad to say, but the reality was my parents got divorced by the time I was 17, but there were years of like infidelity and emotional and unstable abuse before that. So that's all I really remember about being married or marriages. And then my grandfather on my mom's side died when he was very young. Or when sorry, when I was very young. And then my grandmother on my dad's side was not married. So I didn't have any healthy marriages around me to know to know what a good marriage looked like or to have any expectations. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think I had any expectations. Other than I don't like my little MASH game lineup just failed me because at 6th grade, I thought I'd be rich and, I'd have like people working for me by now. Um, so Steve, what was one of the biggest adjustments for you in those early years?
I think when you get married and you end up doing stuff on your own, like for instance, we had our home together. I think, you come to the realization that your mom and your dad aren't going to be there to do it for you, and you actually have to do it yourself. On top of like layering home ownership, and now you have to fix whatever issue that comes up or hire somebody that fix whatever issue that comes up. I think for me is coming to the realization that I was on my own. No, granted, I did a lot of things on my own, but it hit me when it was just you and me in the home, and it's like, well, wait a minute, we can do whatever we want, but we have to make sure we don't mess up.
True.
What surprised you the most about married life?
I think like kind of what you said is like there was freedom that came with being married and no longer like under our parents' roof, but that responsibility. Like there's a huge responsibility that comes with married life. We had a home that we had to be responsible for, and then each other. I had to make sure that you were fed or, taken care of. And I also think another thing that surprised me the most is that uh I couldn't control a lot of things. Like I could only control myself. There were lots of things that were out of my control. And because I was a control freak, I think that was one of the things that I struggled most about was that I could not control you. I'm like, "Wait a minute, but I'm his wife, like, he should listen to everything I say," and that was not the case, so I think that caused a lot of, like, misunderstandings and disagreements early on in our marriage, but I think that was definitely most surprising is that the freedom has a cost of responsibility, so I think that was a huge thing. Now, what's something about me today that you would say is completely different from the woman that you married?
Something about ate today is completely different. We don't eat Jack in the Box.
That's the best thing is that we don't need to eat 99-cent tacos anymore.
Well, and well, not only that, but like I don't think we have the palate for it anymore. But yeah, I mean, we would eat Jack in the Box a lot. I mean, I know I would get two tacos for I think it was 99 cents, and we don't do that anymore. I mean, I don't even like we haven't eaten McDonald's anymore, and I think for me that's made a big impact because my family has diabetes runs through my bloodlines, and not to say if you eat that you can get that, but I think us taking or making a conscious decision earlier in life to eat not fast food, let's put it that way, and eat food that we are going to typically cook ourselves and somewhat healthy has kept me at the size that I am right now. What's something about me that has changed the most? Oh, this one's like a fool. You can go anywhere.
Well, there's a lot that's changed, not just you not eating tacos.
Yeah.
I think I think you are far more passionate now than you were 25 years ago. I think there is just this like great passion inside you to like just push through. And I think you're much more wiser and smarter for sure. You are by far more detailed oriented, but I like to take ownership in some of that because I think I have kind of allowed you, taught you the ways. I have sensei'd you into like, look, it's important for the details. The passion I won't take full credit for, but I think like the details and stuff definitely you've learned probably by failure to miss the details. So I think that's something that has changed for sure. Okay, so let's look back 25 years. If we could sit down with our 25-year-old selves right before the wedding, what advice would you give that couple, us, 25 years ago?
I would say make sure you listen before you speak. Make sure that you become more detail oriented than your spouse because you have to be 10 steps ahead of her.
Yes.
And know that if you say she has dirty ankles, it's going to cost you like 10 times as much.
Oh my God. Okay, the audience is that's gonna so go over the audience's head right now. I should say that's an inside joke between us, you guys. Oh God, now they're gonna think it's something dirty, like
We'll just make sure that we put a picture
of my
on
dirty
Instagram.
ankles.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give a disclaimer. So right before the podcast, I'm sitting on the bed and I have I'm like barefoot. I have pants on, but I'm wearing sandals today. And Steve was calling what looked like my dirty ankles. And you guys, I have the worst tan line on my ankles right now. So during the winter time, like Steve and I walk every day and I wear yoga pants and I wear ankle socks. So there is like a maybe like 2-inch gap between my leggings and my socks around my ankles that the sun gets and they get super tan. So it looks like I legit have dirty ankles. Yeah. I won't tell you what my comeback was to Steve because I'm far too nice here on the podcast. That's why he said it's going to cost me. But I won't say it here because I had a very costly comeback to him on that. So, the advice that I would give ourselves right before the wedding, I think I would tell them to, when you're in the thick of raising kids, still make sure to have time to be a couple and to be individuals. I think, and we can chat about that a little bit later. I think, there was a season, at least I won't speak for Steve, I think for me, where I got so lost in motherhood and being a wife that I completely lost my identity. So I think it's so important for married couples to withstand their individuality when you enter a marriage. I think that's so important. Now, one thing that I have learned, I will say this, is that marriage isn't built on the easy seasons, that is for sure. It's really forged just in those difficult ones, and that's what I want us to actually talk about a little bit, are the seasons that grew us the most. Looking back over 25 years, Steve, what season do you think stretched us the most as a couple?
Looking back over the past 25 years, I think the season of, I guess, the early years of not only our marriage, but us being adults, it was like the perfect intersection of ministry and parenting. And and when I say ministry, that was your job at that point. And um, not that I can't handle the kids, but I basically took care of the kids on the weekends. Um, and primarily mainly all day Sunday. And I had to get creative, and we did a lot of cool things together. A lot of things that I don't think Leslie would have done with the boys. Like I remember one time we chased chickens in the back of bushes, and I know Leslie probably wouldn't have done that, but that's, I think that stresses the most because and the commute back and forth from where you were working and church. The kids were young, and I think I was super impatient with the kids, and I know that there was certain times where I'm just like, all right, let's go, and I was super hard on the boys to make sure that we weren't late because I hate being late. And when you're driving 30 minutes, you got to make sure you leave probably an hour before. And I think it not only stretched us, but it stretched me as a person and the boys because the boys were little. I think what stretched us the most was that perfect intersection between parenting and ministry. Now, Les, I want to ask you if there was a season where you felt like we were simply surviving, and what helped us get through that.
I think it was that same season for sure. I worked ministry for 9 years. When I started my ministry job as children's director at a mega church, Noah was 2, and then I got pregnant with Jacob while I was in that role, so I had him while working there. I had 2 young kids. I was working, like, 6 days a week, um, at least, like, 50 hours a week sometimes, depending what season we were in. I felt like we were in survival mode every week, oftentimes, and this is where I, like, lost myself in just that, like, the role, being a mom, to young kids, and what helped us get through that, I think, really it was God, honestly, like, and I think definitely for someone that's listening right now that maybe you are considering going into full-time ministry, uh, and if you are married, know that when you go into full-time ministry, your spouse also goes into full-time ministry with you. Now, Steve had a full-time job Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends, he had a second full-time job, not just to parent, like, and be with our boys, but he showed up and served. He served in the classrooms, with the kids. He was there making sure that, like, I was fed. He'd make sure the breakfast would get ready when on Sundays. He'd get the kids ready on Sundays and go and serve on Sundays. Make sure, like, sometimes he'd go grab me lunch so I can eat in between, like, the 3rd and 4th service that I was working. So it really took, like, all of us. And then when the boys started getting older, they were there serving services with us. So it was we were definitely I wanna say it was a mix of us surviving, but also thriving, because I look back to that and there's so many good memories that we created during that. We made the most of that season that we were in. And I think that that's what just really helped us to get through it. Now, here's another thing that I think that we have done, I think, really well, and I think this is a big component as to how we have allowed ourselves to get to 25 years. And I want you to share, babe, what have you learned about forgiveness after 25 years?
It's not always about winning. And for me, like Leslie said, I'm super passionate, and passionate people love to win. And I know there's times where I'm like, I want to win, want to win, want to win. And one of the things that and allow me to grow is being able to step back and say, okay, what is this moment about? Is it about me winning? Is it about one of us messing up? It's about us playing the long game. And that's where forgiveness comes in. I think forgiveness, not only forgiveness, but being able to listen and understand the different perspectives is the long game for 25 years. Forgiveness was a big component. What is the one lesson that marriage taught you about yourself, Leslie?
Ah, God, there's lots of lessons that marriage taught me about myself. I think surrender is probably one of them, because I think that was the hardest thing for me to do. And that comes in like, it was easy for me to forgive. That I think is definitely something that I learned even beforehand, because there was lots of things that I had to forgive others for that were done to me. But I think just surrender is the biggest thing, and not always getting my way. And especially when kids came in, that like, oh, kids will uh, kids will uh, cause you to just like lose your sanity. So I think it's definitely just learning to surrender to things that are out of my control. I think that's been the biggest lesson. Now, what is something that we've had to intentionally fight for in our marriage?
I guess unity, because we could easily, like, you're a separate person, I'm a separate person. Like, we can easily go down our separate paths because we're both fully capable. But when it comes to marriage, it's not about going down your own separate paths. It's about being able to take two paths and overlap them and almost run them parallel to get to the final destination. And I think that's the one thing that we've been able to intentionally fight for is connection. Because I mean, 25 years, it's it's basically the life of somebody that is literally, I mean, it's the life of our son. There's a life of some of the kids, some of the young adults that we volunteer with at church. And I think the other thing that we've also had to fight for is trust, and being able to trust each other as we go about our own different pathways, and then come together and be able to be friends.
Yes, I second that for sure. You know, we Steve and I were on a walk the other day, and I had told him when we're like, it was the realization of like, dang, like 25 years, that is so crazy. And I said, you know, I've been with you longer now than I was with my parents. Like, so my like who I am today is 100% Steve's fault.
Ah.
I can no longer blame my parents for all of this, you know? So the therapy sessions are like now all Steve's fault, not my parents' fault.
Yeah.
All right, so let's transition a little bit here and let's look at what actually matters. So we talked about the things that have allowed us to grow some of the more challenging times, but one thing that happens after 25 years is that you stop chasing the things that just really don't matter and start valuing what actually does. So, with that said, what matters way more today than it did when we first got married?
So what matters today more than it did when we got married? I'm gonna give two answers. So the first one, having a camera. I think it's so funny. We had cameras when we were married, and we used disposable, and we used the new film that came out. And now it's like I don't know, we have five cameras, and I always want more. That wasn't there when we first got married. It's obviously progressed as the years have gone by. I also think one of the things when we first got married, we wanted, I mean, we probably still do want it, but it's not as important, is a 1964 Speedster. That's that's definitely not on the priority list right now. We need to get Jacob a car. We need to get our youngest son a car, and we have two kids going to college, so not on the priority list. But not to say that it's not going to fall off the list. It's just not on the priority. But and another thing, like on a serious note, I think the other thing that matters way more today is the time that we get to spend together because one of the things that I've told Leslie over the past couple of years is like, think about this, like it's gonna be you and me again. It's not gonna be the four of us, it's gonna be you and me again, you, me, and Zoe. So yeah, I think it's a realization that that's gonna be settling in soon to know that okay, we're back to square one.
Yes. Now, let me finish everything that Steve just said because he missed so many details in there. I love you.
About what?
Your camera. Hold
Oh,
go back.
no,
What
just
matters way more to you today than it did back then. It's not so much the cameras, but capturing memories, right?
yeah, but also the cameras.
Oh
It's
my
so funny.
gosh.
Like some people collect sneakers, some people collect like coins. I kind of want to start collecting cameras.
You guys hear this? Are you guys listening to this? Okay, I'm thinking he's talking about the cameras because he's like, it's so much more important that we capture the memories and, have those tools to do it. Like, no, he just wants to collect cameras.
But
Okay.
capturing memories is also important.
All right, all right. And then for those of you that don't know, Zoe is our dog that he's referring to. I know I've mentioned her before, but Zoe's our dog. I just 25 years of marriage, you also know the thought process of your spouse, and sometimes you gotta finish, like, their thought process a little bit. You gotta remember that there's possibly someone listening to us for the very
For the
first
first time.
that have no
Yeah.
idea what
And
who we're talking to or what we do. Uh,
and I want to say that that is a very, very good note that my very detailed oriented wife has picked up on because typically when I'm with her, I don't have to be as detailed as I have to at work. And my guard goes down and she's right. I sorry for those that are jumping off for the first time. Um, I will be very detail oriented going forward. So now that we got the detail stuff out of the way, what's
yes.
something that we worried about early in our marriage that now feels completely insignificant?
Oh, God, there's so many things that I think were completely insignificant. I think I would say trying to make it seem like we were perfect or, like, had our ish together. Um, I think early in our marriage, just wanted to, like, seem that everything was all happy-go-lucky and that we had everything together and, like, not showing where we lacked or failed or our flaws. And, I mean, we failed early in our marriage in very many different ways, and I think just kinda sharing in those hard seasons, like, keeping them from people not that, like, we're gonna flaunt our dirty laundry all over the place, but I think it at least for me, I think back then, like, I was more concerned about what other people saw or perceived, and now I'm just like, "We're just a train wreck away from, like everybody else. We all have our flaws," and that's where I struggle talking about marriage because I know that our marriage isn't perfect, and I don't want people to look at us as, like, this, you know, poster couple that, like, "Oh," put us on a pedestal, "You guys have been married for 25 years, and you guys have it all together." Like, absolutely not, you know? Steve and I were just arguing about something really stupid a couple of days ago. And it is not all like butterflies and rainbows, you know? It's really hard to get to this place. But I think that's why we're doing this episode to kind of pull back the curtain and say, hey, I contemplated, even I think we did an episode maybe over a year ago or so. What was that topic about? I don't remember. I think it was about doing ministry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then I was still kind of like, "Ah, I don't know if I want to talk, like go deep into marriage, give marriage advice or anything like that." This episode is far from giving any type of advice. We're just speaking from experience. And I think our experience, if it can encourage someone or it can shape someone else's marriage, then great. But I don't want to say that this is cookie cutter advice or experience because every couple is absolutely different. I think who you become, I should say, through marriage and how you evolve is important to understand too. Again, 25 years. Like Steve has probably been married to six different Leslie's versions of me, at least. I know there are quite a few different versions of Steve that I have been married to. So we evolve and we change, and things that were important back then are no longer important, and, vice versa. So it's really just learning how to be in the season that you're in, you know? So when people ask, babe, what is our secret to 25 years? I know we've been asked this many times. What do you tell them?
My normal answer is, oh, being patient and knowing when to walk away, and that's normal answer. But you know, getting ready for this and thinking about this, I want to say slow is fast, and I say that because Leslie made a comment earlier that we're not butterflies and rainbows, and so think about this. I want you guys to think about this. We've been together for 25 years. Of that 25 years, Leslie and I were on a stalemate on what we should do with our backyard. And our backyard sat with dirt, just dirt, for what, 5 years?
That 7 years. Not the whole
7 years.
backyard. We had
No, but
slab put in, mind
we
you.
had cement slab,
Yeah.
but
We had
there's
a
a
we
good
had a s
portion.
we had a strip that Steve and I could absolutely not agree what to do. Like, it literally caused arguments when we would bring it up.
And then finally we said, okay, let's do this. And we were done in a weekend.
Mhm.
And I mean, granted, we went all that time, but the moment we came together, we finished it in the weekend. We brought in our two boys to help, but at the same time, like I said, slow is fast. And sometimes you just don't rush, don't rush into something, take your time. And the moment you become aligned, that's when you're going to hit the ground running.
Yes. I would agree to that.
And when I say slow is fast, the slow is fast actually, I think, is a compound of daily habits and daily habits that happen over a course of whatever duration. What daily habits do you think have strengthened our marriage over time, Les?
For I'll speak first and foremost as, like, my individual habits. I think for me, over the last, like, 7 years, I have really been keyed in on my morning routine, my morning habits, which is, like, reading my Bible, doing my devotion, my gratitude journal, studying the Bible, doing my soap journal. All of that, I think, has definitely strengthened our marriage. It's a way I journal. This will be no surprise to Steve. I've said it multiple times on the podcast, but my journals, when I die, my husband and my kids will read all the dirt in there of how I was feeling about them that day and the prayers that I had to have. So when I've been pissed off at Steve, like it's in my prayer journal, and it will be no surprise. He can read all that stuff. I don't hide my journals or anything because that is my place to vent about everything, not just my marriage, but life when I'm feeling defeated or disappointed, or even when I feel like not seen by God. There are things in there when my kids have pissed me off and annoyed me. Um, I write about it in there, and that's been my form of therapy, something daily that I do every day. I think as a married couple, I think one thing, a habit that we do every day is, uh, we always tell each other, "I love you." like no matter what. I love you. Like if we're leaving, if we talk to each other on the phone, I love you. When we leave for work, I always tell the kids too, like I love you. And that's just been something that I think has been a habit that just I want, if anything, God forbid anything happens to any one of us, that kind of last moment that we may have saw each other or anything, I want it to be like that you heard the words, "I love you." So that is, I think, a habit that we've done, like, pretty well that I don't want to take for granted. Just talking about, like, faith and what me every day spending time with God, and making that habit just a big thing for me. How has faith, do you feel, impacted our marriage over the years?
One of the first things that we did together was start ministry. And I mean, we were doing ministry at our church that we were attending when we were 21, maybe, or 20.
We started with, like, shortly when we got engaged, so I was about 21, you're about 20, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that was probably one of the first and best decisions we made in the course of our the 25 years up until this point, that allowed us to be able to work together in in an environment that wasn't our home. And I think that's kind of important when you take a step back, because we're together all the time. Whether we wake up, we eat together, we're spending time together at home, and then we go off and do our thing, and then we come back together. Well, this was a moment for us to do something together, but under a different roof. And I think that was important for us because we got to be able to carry that same partnership that we have under our roof, under somebody else's roof.
So during that time when we did, ministry together, I mean, we did it even as a family. So I had mentioned before, like, Steve would lead in the classroom also. This was now mind you, I was the early childhood director at a church, a mega church. I oversaw nursery through kindergarten, and just in my ministry alone, I oversaw 150 volunteers. We had about 500 kids on a weekend come through just our section. This isn't all kids, like, this is just nursery through kindergarten. So Steve would work in, like, the pre-K classes leading the kids, like, teaching lessons to 3, 4, 5-year-olds, and we had a little theater, we had a puppet stage, and Steve would help with the props, like, he would lead worship, he would lead lessons, he would help in doing puppets, right? Like, we would do props, we did, like, the whole shebang, y'all. So this was not just the little thing that we did on the weekends, like, what I just said, as many kids, like, one service in that little G3 theater back there, at one service or, like, 10, 15 service, we could have up to 100 pre-K and kindergartners in that one room, okay? Now
Yeah.
imagine trying to keep the attention of 100 4 and 5-year-olds. Y'all, you just don't know. I mean, talk about the whole song and dance. Steve often accredits that season to allow him to now go and lead in boardrooms in multi-million dollar companies and school districts today, is that he was able to keep 3, 4, 5-year-olds fully engaged, and now he presents, to, school districts, and he's in boardrooms, and he gets accredited oftentimes for being such a well-spoken presenter and an engaged presenter, and that's why.
It's so funny. I don't know if I told you this last, but at one point, the president, I worked at Rose Hills. It's a cemetery and mortuary. And at one point, the president told me, he pulled me aside and said, I've never seen anybody present and smile as much as you do when they're talking about financials and accounting. But the thing is that the moment you let your guard down with those kids, they're gonna tear you apart. If you had a, I guess, RBF, right?
Yeah.
They would eat you apart, like, or you'd lose them right away. So yeah, that's. That's my smile.
RBF, cara de hachas, like all of that. Yes, they will rip you apart. That goes for any classroom, any age.
Yeah.
You step into high school, you got RBF or cara de hachas, the fuchi face, all of
Yeah.
that. If you are not Latina, you don't know, but I think most of you guys can know what RBF is. I'm not going to say it out loud, but or say what it means, but you know what we're talking about. You step into a high school classroom, they will eat you alive with RBF. Our son, he takes pictures of people that carry the Fuchi face and he will blow them up. Okay. Now, enough about the serious stuff. Okay, we were talking, well, we were kind of having a little bit of fun right now, but let's get into some more fun stuff. I want us to do like rapid fire questions here. So we got to answer quick here. No overthinking. I just want you off the top of your head to think of like who this is, okay? Now, you ready?
Yes.
Rapid fire. Okay, I'll ask all the questions. Here we go. Who said I love you first? Steve.
Steve.
You're a little slow there. You got to point. Remember, you got to
Yeah,
point
I
for our
will. I'll point.
YouTubers. Okay. Yes. Steve said I no, I want to like ad lib a little bit on this because Steve and I were friends for like 6 months before we actually started dating. We're in high school, so we're friends. But we would talk on the phone as friends, and he would always end the call with saying, I love you. And I'm like, you're weird. Like, we're just friends. He would always say it sarcastically. He'd be like, okay, I love you. And I'm like, bye, fool. And I would like hang up. So it wasn't until years later or months later that he would say that like he meant it, whether he did or not. I guess I'll never know. Okay. Next rapid fire question. Who is more patient? Leslie.
Steve. No,
I
I'm not
okay.
patient at all, guys. 100% not
Yeah.
patient.
Steve, I will say this. Steve used to be the more patient one early in our marriage, but I think over the last decade, I think our kids have like ruined that for him. So I think I am by far the more patient one now. All right. Who apologizes first? Steve.
Steve,
Yeah, I'll say him. I will
because
definitely say
I
Steve.
probably mess up the most.
That there's a little bit of that truth on there, but I also am stubborn as hell, so it takes me a little bit longer. So yes. Okay. Who's more likely to cry? Leslie.
Leslie.
Yeah, for me. I was crying today watching my baby boy play on the playground like his last recess for their grad walk. Like I legit was a hot mess. I had to walk out because I was crying. Yeah. Okay, who is more stubborn?
Leslie.
Leslie. Yeah, I hands down, I'll say that. Who spends longer getting ready?
Leslie.
Leslie. Definitely. Steve can get
Tw-
ready in like 10 minutes.
12.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say he has a timer sometimes. He knows if he's getting ready for like a work meeting, y'all, he knows that he can get ready in 12 minutes and he will set a timer as he's getting ready. So he knows how much time he has before his like work meeting. Yes, it's crazy. Okay. Who's the better driver? Leslie.
Leslie.
Yes.
I'm
I
the better sleeper when I drive.
Yeah, you guys, Steve goes into autopilot and it is scary as hell. When we're on long drives, I cannot fall asleep because I need to make sure that he stays awake. Like I can never sleep on car rides because I fear what is going to happen to us. Next question. Who is more likely to forget where they put something?
Steve.
That's Steve. Yes, absolutely. Just today, he asked me, have you seen the filter to our camera? And I was like, when did we last use it? He's like, oh, when we took Jacob's pictures at the school, which means he probably left the filter to our camera on like the little ledge brick way of like their little quad area. Because
I
he
put it in a
likes to
secret. No, I put it in a secret hiding place.
find a secret hiding place on the school campus of the wall where we were taking pictures at. Y'all, he will leave, he will put stuff in random places and then not know what happened to it. We had a photo shoot we did a big event at the football field, and he left our freaking ladder there. You still haven't replaced that ladder. Okay.
No, we got to find a cheap one.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Who is more likely to start something and not finish it?
Leslie.
Leslie, me. Absolutely. I, yeah. I'm not even going to go into that. I've talked about that before. I procrastinate a lot. I have lots of ideas. I'm creative. I get bored easily. All right. Who is the bigger dreamer?
I
Leslie.
guess it would be Leslie.
I'm going to say me. That's why I don't ever finish when I start because I have too many dreams.
Yeah.
Who worries more? Steve.
I guess it would be me.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yes, for sure. Who is more spontaneous?
Uh,
I'm
that's a
gonna say
toss up.
I'm gonna say me.
Yeah, you're right. Because I am super, we have to do this, do
Yes,
that, do this.
I'm way
And
more spontaneous. And if we're going like this way and I tell Steve, "No, let's go this way." Like
I'm like,
sometimes he flips his lid a little bit. Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes. Yes, yes. All right. Who makes the other laugh more?
Uh,
I'm
I
actually
think
gonna say Steve.
I was gonna say it's a toss up. I think it's even.
I think so Steve always says that I married him for his money. We were poor 17-year-olds when I started dating him. He had no money. But I will say that the way he makes me laugh is what I think got me. Uh, because his sarcasm and y'all don't know this. For you that are listening that maybe know Steve, but you don't know Steve, Steve is the biggest crap talker ever. Like our boys,
She's lying.
they shut up. No, you guys, like he can like talk so much crap about people. Like we go people watching and he will call people out and say things about them. And I'm not even gonna repeat some of the things that he says, but he will make me laugh on stuff. Yeah, because of that. Like just saying stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just start laughing. Okay, who is more competitive?
uh,
I'm gonna say Steve.
that's even. It's a toss up
No,
because
I think you are
look
far more competitive.
look at the stalemate that we had for our backyard. You were not moving ground. I wasn't moving ground. We're like,
That's
well, go sit
stubbornness.
there in dirt.
That's stubbornness. That's not about wanting to win. I was just being stubborn.
That's that's so funny, guys. If you think about it, that's a long time to sit and just be like, oh well, just sit there and we can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And and I think, that's another thing to take away is sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes you just gotta like Steve said, sometimes slow is just good. It took 7 years.
Yeah.
I will say this though, if it wasn't for ChatGPT, I think we would still have dirt in our backyard because that is the only way that we were able to resolve what to put in our backyard is
Yeah.
Steve went and measured the backyard, got pictures, we uploaded those pictures, and we told now it wasn't a matter of aesthetics of our backyard, it was a matter of functionality because we had some serious like drainage and flooding issues in our backyard. So we had to type all of that into ChatGPT for it to like give us a reasonable and affordable solution of what to do. So then we couldn't argue with each other about like, hey, this is what chat says and it makes sense, right? So that was that approach. If you guys ever are like in a stale agreement like that with your spouse, go to
What
chat
is
and see what chat says. But you have to tell it to be nonpartisan, all right? It can't
yeah.
be like biased. You got to like give the whole picture. All right. So let's ask a couple more fun questions. What is the best vacation that we ever took?
Ugh. I know what you're gonna say, and I'm gonna say Hawaii because and every time we go to Hawaii, it's probably the best time I ever have. Like
I I absolutely love Hawaii, but I'm actually gonna say Mexico when we went to Cancun.
oh yeah, that was fun too.
And I think it was a whole different level of, like, best vacation because the boys were in high school at that time.
Yeah.
They were both in high school. We were able to leave them for a whole week without being, like, worried, not having to, worry about getting them around, like, all that stuff, and we had fun.
Hmm.
Like, we ate so good. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort. We just had to worry about ourselves.
Yeah, that was fun.
We had lots of fun. Alright, our most memorable date.
You know, I'm gonna take the easy route and I'm gonna say I'm gonna chalk it up to the multiple dates that we took when we first got married and we bought our annual passes to Disneyland and we just went because it was already paid for. Now, keep in mind, I know you probably can't do that today because it's not as cheap as it was back then when, I don't know, back in the early 2000s. But those types of dates I think are fun because it was just you and me. We went for an evening, we got on rides, and then we got to eat, and that's it. And it's crazy because you have all those people there, but it was just you and me.
I will agree. I would say that those definitely were our most memorable dates. And this is where we would have fun because we would just sit on Main Street with our Cheeto in hand or what ice cream, whatever it is that we're eating, and we would talk crap about people walking down Main Street.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, Steve would make me laugh. He would come off with some off the top stuff, and I would just, like, bust out laughing. We would see people doing random stuff, like some, nice, thick, solid guy across the way, like, digging in his nose or something and eating his ice cream, and Steve would point him out, and I'd start, like, laughing. So, yeah, those were definitely some fun, memorable dates. Now let me ask you this. What is one thing that you appreciate more about me now than when we first got married?
You know, one of the things I appreciate the detailedness because you being detail oriented, because when we go on vacation, I always thought or when we first got married that it was so annoying that we had to be like, oh, we got to be detailed, detailed. But now I love the detailedness because it helps me stay detailed and on track so that we don't have any spontaneous moments. I'm already thinking about everything that could potentially happen. And technically, they're not spontaneous anymore because they're already in my head. So, yeah, that I totally appreciate it now. It helps you stay organized, let's put it that way. And so when we first got married, we were living with Leslie's mom and I think it was either every weekend or every other weekend we would clean the house and we would help her clean the house. And we kept that going forward with our own house and then ultimately the other houses that we had. And then when the boys came, we kept that as well. And even till this day, we will clean the floors together, or Leslie will clean upstairs, I'll clean downstairs, and we get it done, and then we can cross it off our list. And that teamwork, I think, is key because ultimately, if you're doing something by yourself and you keep doing it by yourself, it's gonna feel lonely. Even when we wash dishes, I'll wash the dishes, she'll dry them, and we're done.
Yes.
So that detailedness, I think it goes a long way.
I think
Because like you said, you helped me be who I am today. Guys, I used to be that teenager that carried all my notes folded up in my back pocket, and chances are I never saw them again.
and now he has them organized in files and, like, drives and yeah,
Voice memos,
spreadsheets. Yes.
everything.
Yes. It took how many years for me to get you to actually use kind of like a planner, like a notebook? You have your notebooks that you write in daily to, like, keep everything organized, your thoughts and everything,
A lot of
yes.
years. It was just a lot.
It was a
And
lot of
now,
years of training you.
I mean, I don't even need the books now, but it helps me just get my thoughts on paper.
Yes. I think the thing that I appreciate most about you today than when we first got married is your will to not give up. That is something I think even back then, but I think that has allowed us to get to 25 years. Your work ethic is, like, beyond anything. You guys, Steve is like a crazy workhorse, and how he does it all, I still don't know, but he just has a phenomenal work ethic, and he can learn things so easily. Like, he just picks up things super fast. He's, like, honestly brilliant when it comes to data and research and, like, numbers and spreadsheets and all this craziness and tech stuff. Like, he's pretty handy with that stuff, and he has figured out how to fix things around the house by just, like, going to YouTube. So
Plumbing's not my expertise, guys. 100%.
yeah, but I will tell you, he has fixed some serious plumbing issues around our house by just going to YouTube and figuring it out that way. So he's a good problem solver. And I think I appreciate that more like now than ever. And more so because he's saved us a lot of money in plumbing issues. But when you got two boys that share a bathroom,
Ugh,
I I'm just gonna say there are serious plumbing issues with that.
uh,
That's enough said right there. All right, let's transition. We're going to start to kind of wrap up here, but I asked my audience on social media for some fun questions and we got some really good ones. So I want to kind of wrap up and asking these last few questions here. Now, looking back, Steve, what would you say mattered way less than you thought it would today?
I know this is gonna sound funky, but I think, granted, I know money helps you get a lot of things accomplished, but it's not the most important thing. And I mean, guys, I'm driving a car from 2004, and I love that car. And for me, it's not about having a fancy car. It's about having something that takes me from point A to B. And I think, when me and Leslie started, we didn't have money. We didn't have a lot of money. We had money, but we didn't have a lot. And now till this day, for us, it's not about the money. It's about spending time together and creating memories. And I think, when we were younger, maybe it was just for me, but I wanted to make a lot of money. And granted, making a lot of money is great, and I'm not knocking it. But when it comes to having a family and understanding, and you know what, I'm gonna stop right here because I had I had a I had a moment back in, I don't even know what year it was. It was probably, I had COVID, and and I think, thinking back on that day where I felt like a fish out of water and I couldn't breathe, that sticks in my head. And all the money in the world isn't gonna help me be better. It, it's being able to breathe. I think that's the moment that we take for granted. And when you're able to breathe, and when you're able to breathe with your family around you, that's huge. And I think, like, for me, like I said, money's not everything, but being able to be around your family and breathe is huge.
I would second that. Yeah, I think like money is not it. I think that's where for me it took that mind shift of bringing more joy into our life and how can we live a more joyous life rather than something that is tied to money and things. And Steve's car that he's talking about that he drives, we it is a 2004 Toyota Tundra and we bought that brand new before we had kids. We brought both of our boys home in that car. It still drives like a freaking beast. That thing goes from 0 to 60 in, like, I don't know, 2 seconds. But he always says, like, he's so emotionally connected to that car for so many reasons. One, just that we have a paid off car, but y'all, that thing still drives, like, so good.
Yeah.
We are a Toyota car family for a reason. Now, here's another question. What did love look like after the honeymoon phase faded? This is from our audience. I'll answer this one. I think the reality of the honeymoon phase is short-lived. I don't know, I think we all can have, like, different seasons of honeymoon phase, like, there is a time when, you're in the thick of, like, parenthood. For us, I think parenthood, I wouldn't necessarily call that the honeymoon phase because that was our more challenging, and then you added, like, ministry into that. I think it just looks like being resilient and persevering because you'll have seasons. Like, I almost wanna say we're entering a new honeymoon
Mhm.
phase for us now that our kids are gone, that we're just gonna have so much freedom to do a lot more things, and this is like a whole new version of us being married together without having the responsibility of having to, like, chauffeur and our kids or be at a
Yes.
practice or a game or be sidelined and go to school events and school meetings and all this stuff. So I think I don't know, I don't wanna say that the honeymoon phase fades or ever goes away. It's kind of like you have your ups and downs of it. But I think it's just being steadfast through all of it and resilient. All right, here's the next question. What's the best marriage advice that you ever received?
The only thing that comes to my mind is somebody saying, "I remember she's always right." And that's not always the best, but because when, you know, let's say wants to go get her hair done, I'm like, "No, it's only been a week."
Y'all, I go,
That's
like, every 8 weeks to get my hair done, and when I tell him, "Oh, I have a hair appointment tomorrow," he's like, "You just got your hair done." I'm like, "8 weeks ago." Or when I get my nails done every 3 weeks, he's like, "You just went last week." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I went 2.5 weeks ago."
Yeah, so
So, happy wife, happy life,
happy life, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna go down to this. Okay, here's one that we got from the audience. Tell us your dating story. How did you meet? How long you dated? I'll answer this one. So Steve and I started dating in high school. I had mentioned earlier we were friends first. My best friend actually introduced us. She had Steve in her Spanish class and she introduced us and we both were dating other people at the time. So when she introduced us, it was just like, "Oh, this is my friend Steve in Spanish class." Like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" She had I think you guys had Spanish like 3rd period, so it was like nutrition. So I always went to meet her so we can hang out with at nutrition, and he would always, like, walk with us, like, to go to nutrition. So he was just like a friend, and then we started, like, talking, and we were friends, and then, like, I broke up with my boyfriend, he broke up with his girlfriend, and then we, like, started dating, and we were still even friends while we weren't officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And then it was, like, after 6 months of us, like, kind of hooking up or whatever, and then he officially asked me to, like, be his girlfriend. And then we dated, I mean, 7 years before we got married,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was, like, a long time. So we dated each other for a long time. And, Imma give the audience and maybe a lot of people that don't even know this part about us, Imma really pull the curtain back. Uh, I actually broke up with Steve,
Mhm.
like, after he graduated high school. So I graduated a year before him. His senior year, he was a jerk, let's just say that. He was a jerk during his senior year, and he did some pretty nasty stuff, to me. And I still, like, loved him and still was, like, dating him, and then that summer after he graduated, I was just kind of like, "I don't know if I wanna stay with this guy." He was a jerk to me, like, his last senior year, and and then he started, like, partying and, like, doing just stupid stuff with his friends. He had some stupid, like he went through that dumb phase that I think, like, teenage boys go through at that phase.
Mhm.
So I had broke up with him, and we had broke up for, like, 3 months, I think, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Steve coming and being, like, resilient and kept, like, coming and knocking on my door and still wanting to talk to me and, like, still pursuing me, I don't know that we would have gotten back together, honestly. I think, like what was your train of thought during that time when I broke up with you? Did you realize that you were being a jerk?
You know, I don't I don't remember that back then as far as my train of thought, but I do know this. I think you probably got introduced to Richard at that point.
Richard was trying to be a ladies' man, is what he was trying to do. He was trying to play me and trying to hook
No,
up with all these other ladies.
that 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 is not the truth.
You are
But
so full of it.
no, but I think in all seriousness, again, my train thought or my th thought process was probably, and going back to that conversation that Leslie said that I had with her, I think at one point, was it before that time or after that time where I told you I was going to marry you?
I think it was before that.
I think
It
so
was
too. So
before we broke up.
I probably already messed with my head and was like, oh darn, you know what? This girl's doesn't want me to hang out with her anymore, and that's the girl that I said I was going to marry. So I better go get her.
And you actually shortly after you graduated, you actually if you remember, you gave me a promise ring, and then I still broke up with you.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then
gave
I
me
was
a
like, you know
promise
what?
ring.
I
Yeah,
gotta, I already gave her a promise ring. I better make this work.
yeah, and and I think that was kind of like I really started thinking about it, and I was like, "Do I really wanna, like, be with this guy forever?" Like, he treated me like crap this last year, and, he's off partying and doing all this stupid stuff, and that's why I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think so." And then I broke up with him, but then he kept coming back. And then I realized, like I was like, "Okay, if he can pull his ish together and not be a jerk to me anymore, then maybe I'll give him a second chance." And he did.
Mm,
And here we are 25 years later.
25 years later.
Yes. Okay, so here's my final question to you as we wrap up. When people hear 25 years of marriage, what do you hope that they understand?
That it's not easy. And um, I think we'll go back to our ministry days. Make your journey look like you're a swan on a lake. Super graceful, super pretty. Everything is great, but underneath, you're paddling as fast as you can. And I mean that's what our marriage is. It's not perfect, but we do make sure that we come all the time dressed, make sure we're not in our pajamas. I may be in our workout clothes, but not in our pajamas.
Now, if there is one thing that we've learned over the 25 years, I think it's this, that marriage isn't about finding the perfect person. It is simply about two imperfect people just choosing each other again and again through every season that life brings. And I think that's something that we've done pretty well. We both are very imperfect. And trying to pretend that we're perfect is not it either. I think just choosing that even in our imperfectness that we will still, choose each other over and over. And the truth is that love, it just isn't sustained by feelings alone. It is built through faithfulness, through forgiveness, through friendship, and through just showing up in ordinary days. And through God's grace, that is what carries a marriage through because it's not your own strength. Your own strength is not enough to get to 25 years. So, my love, thank you for taking this journey with me for the last 25 years. And thank you to the listeners. Thank you guys for celebrating this milestone with us. Before we go, I just want to say a quick prayer for marriages. And, for those of you that, if you're a wife, if you're a spouse, I have the more, I'm certain it's more ladies that are listening. But all right, people, my peeps, all of you guys listening, I hope that this episode was a blessing to you. And just remember, 25 years, slow and steady is the way for sure. Happy wife, happy life. And for the ladies out there, I'm going to give this word of advice. Always make sure that your husband is fed and that he gets to sleep. Because I will tell you, 9 out of 10 of our arguments are because he's hangry. He's hungry and he's tired. And I will leave with that, ladies. Until next time, go chase joy.